Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. So this is a kind of a milestone, I guess. This is video number 50 of this series. Me just talking to the camera, which has been, I don't know, pretty interesting because it's been, about a year and a half, I think? Almost? I can't remember now when I uploaded the first video for this. So thanks for watching all of these videos, if you've watched them all, or if you watched any of them. You can watch this one. Thanks. It's hard to believe that I've made 50 of them just on a whim. Like I just started it a year and a half ago. So pretty interesting. But yeah. So what's been going on? So, let's see, I'm starting to feel better. Slowly but surely. Never did get tested for COVID just because it's, I don't know why, difficult to get a test here. Even after nearly 2 years, it's still difficult. So, and I didn't want to go running around the city trying to get one. So, yeah, but I guess I probably had it. I mean, I had all the symptoms of it, so it's just better to assume that I had it. But yeah, so I haven't been in school, in class, I guess. Excuse me. See, I'm still coughing a little bit. So I got my hot jasmine tea. I haven't been going to class for 3 weeks now. Yeah. I mean, I've been attending class through Zoom. They're still having them face-to-face, but I haven't been able to go. I could have probably gone today, because it's been, I think, 14, 15 days since I started to feel sick. So I'm probably not contagious anymore from whatever I had. But I was coughing like crazy earlier today and all day, mostly. And my voice is still a bit, I don't know, different. So I decided not to go again today. And the professor was cool about it. They've all been cool about it. So I sent him an email and we joined through Zoom, which was good. It's a little difficult to participate, which is, just an unfortunate side effect, but the professors seem to understand, so yay. So yeah. But other than that, I haven't really left my house at all, so just mostly staying home and studying, trying to study. I mean, really, it's been difficult just trying to focus on something for more than, 10, 15 minutes. But so I just do it in little bits of time, read a couple pages, take a break, read a couple more pages, take a break. So, but I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. Well, you can see R2 there, who's broken. Kind of annoying. You can see Kirby there. Where? There's Kirby. Got that from a game center many years ago. It's pretty cool. But yeah, right there you can see I bought a kit to study electronics, so that maybe someday I can fix R2. So I bought that, and it came with, not a book of course, but it came with a digital book, PDF, of a guide to do the steps, kind of like that car that I have that's in the box over there that you can't see. And I realized I didn't learn anything from building that car. Oh, I did, just a little bit. I learned what did I learn? Just some parts, I guess, but I didn't really learn that much. So, same with this kit. The book doesn't, it teaches you a little bit, but not a lot. It doesn't go into detail explaining what everything is, which I want to learn, right? So just by chance, I found a video on YouTube, and I started watching them, and it said part 3. I'm like, no. Let's go to his channel. Let's see what he has. And he has I don't know how many videos, hundreds of videos explaining electronics and programming them and whatnot. I'm like, okay, let's watch episode 1 or video 1 or whatever. I learned so much more in that 20-30 minute video than I have from trying to read like multiple books in the past 2 weeks. So that's really cool. He goes into great detail and it explains everything really quite easily. I mean, some of it's still really difficult to understand because it's so new, but it's pretty cool. But yeah, excuse me, I still haven't really done much, but I'm learning more about what I did do from those basic lessons from that kit. So it's pretty neat. Pretty neat. But yeah, so other than that, I haven't been able to go out and take photos or anything. I've been taking some photos inside my house of like, of Spider-Man. I have a, well, it's up there. You can't see it. Everything is not within reaching distance. I have a Spider-Man magnet key holder that a student gave me a year ago or so, I think, about a year ago. So I was practicing taking some like macro photos of it. It was pretty cool. It's pretty fun. But yeah, I have some ideas I want to do with that. Maybe I'm starting to feel better, so maybe tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, anyways. So there's something else I wanted to talk about. I've been meaning to talk about it for a couple months now, but I waited. Because I am looking for a job now. I've been kind of looking now. Well, it's been rough for the past couple weeks, but for a few weeks now, I decided to like really start sending out applications. Excuse me. And I've had one job interview so far, and it didn't work out. Not because I'm not qualified for the job, just because of the distance. The advertisement was not vague, but it was not clear. So that when we did sit down and discuss the location of the job, it was just too far, and it was super part-time, like maybe one lesson, maybe two. Well, no, definitely one lesson, maybe two, maybe. And I would have been traveling like 2 hours one way just to have one lesson. So I think in the end they decided no, that's not beneficial for me, them, or anybody. So they told me no, which was fine. I didn't feel bad about it at all. But it would have been cool though, because it was teaching kids the program using, what is it, STEM? What does STEM stand for? I forget. But it's like that where they're learning how to build stuff by clicking and dragging and just trying to get the concept of logic, like computer logic and whatnot. So it would have been cool. Even the guy who did the interview, I think he was the owner or part owner. I'm not sure exactly. He was like, yeah, for an adult, it's super, super easy. But for children, it's a little bit of a challenge and it's a lot of fun. But it sounded like a cool job, cool company, but it would have been 2 hours one way. No, I can't justify that, But yeah, so it would have been cool though. It was in Kyoto. It would have been nice to go to Kyoto once a week. That place, I know the station where it's at. I used to go there for my chiropractor, but then I had to quit going there because, again, it was 2 hours one way. It was a good chiropractor, but it was just too far. But anyways, so I bring up a job because I kind of want to talk about why I lost my job. And I wanted to wait a while so I wasn't all salty about it, but I still am kind of, I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about it. Which is what I talked about before in my videos. And I talked about a long time ago when I first got the news about why I lost my job. And yeah, it's a lot more complicated than that. So the one thing that first really bugged me was that the way they handled when I left my job and middle of December. Excuse me. December 12th, I think, 13th, I don't remember now. Almost 2 months ago. So they were telling a lot of the students I teach that I was quitting. I was just quitting. After 6 years, I was quitting. And they told all the students that. And even the way they said to me, you're quitting. I'm like, no, I'm not quitting. See, that's the thing. I'm not quitting. I didn't quit the job. So anyway, so they told all my students that I was quitting. And then, we'd sit down for our lesson. And, most of my lessons were one-on-one or in a small group of people I, at that time, been teaching for a year. They asked me, so why are you quitting? I'm like, well, and I don't like lying. I really, really hate lying. I'm not a liar. So I didn't lie to them, but I would just be like, well, I'm really busy with school. I want to focus on school, which is true. It's true. I am focusing on school. Which it's hard to focus on school now because of getting sick. So whatever. Holding some chapstick, by the way. I don't know why I picked it up. Just something to fidget with, I guess. But anyways, so I just, most of the students, I told them, hey, I'm going to focus on school more. Really need to focus on that. I want to graduate as quick as possible, which again, this virus kind of put a stop to that. I was hoping to graduate next year, but I didn't take the GREs in time. Whatever, that's a different story. So anyways, I had to tell all my students, most of my students, that I was going to focus on school and I was just going to become a full-time student, which again is partly not untrue, but not true 100%. So the few students I did tell the truth, I said, hey, no, the real truth is that my contract was not renewed. And which is the annoying thing, because in Japan there is a 5-year law. 5-year law. In Japan, it's not a policy, it's a law, that if you worked for a company for more than 5 years, it could be 1 second over 5 years, you're legally entitled by law to demand, I mean, you probably ask for it, but demand to become a full-time employee. What does that mean? Well, that means you have to work full-time hours. What are full-time hours? It's debatable in Japan. There is no real clear law about it, I think, exactly. I think it's been changing. They're trying to change it. But anyways, so you can demand to become full-time. So you have to work full-time hours. And then the company has to pay you shakai hoken, which is what? Social health insurance and pension. They have to pay it. That's the law. Excuse me. So my boss, my company, didn't want to do that. So, and a lot of these companies don't want to do that. So they put a 5-year limit on your contract, which my contract never had. So, right. So I talked about it, over a year ago now, when I first got the news, is that my contract was not renewed because of downsizing. But within a month, no, not even a month, within a week, excuse me, my company was already posting job advertisements, already hiring new people. It's like, all right, that's a bunch of, I don't know. So yeah, that's not true. So then he gave me 2 other reasons, was that I caused a problem in the office one day, and which is, wait. So this was over 2 years ago. This was probably at the beginning of 2020 or the end of 2019. I don't remember the day when it happened. But, I teach in these English schools, and these English conversation schools are not designed to be noise friendly. So if everybody's noisy, everything is going to be bouncing around like crazy. So can't remember what day it was. Maybe it might have been a Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember. I was really busy, and No, it would have been a weekday, I think, because the student that was in my lesson, she only came on a weekday, I think. Anyways, she's hard of hearing, and she was complaining about the noise. And I'm like, oh, sorry, there's nothing I can do about it. The teacher in the next booth over, cubicle or whatever, he was shouting too loud, way too loud, for his lesson. And it was really frustrating. And but I didn't say anything. But then I'm like, oh, sorry. So after the lesson, went back to the teacher's room. No, it was on the weekend because the manager was there too. Yeah. And the manager was standing next to me, and I said, all right, everybody, try to keep it down a little bit. Some students are complaining that they can't hear. And the guy that was sitting next to me, he just looked at me and he goes, sure, you're probably going to blame it on me. And I'm like, yes, it was you, specifically you. And that's all I said. And I got in trouble for that. Right. That was the big problem. Not really. So I even explained it to the labor office, and she just laughed and like, that's not a problem at all. That's nothing. So anyways, when my boss was discussing my contract renewal, he said that was part of the reason. Okay. And then the second reason was when I had COVID, or maybe had COVID in 2020, at the end of the lockdown we had in Japan, what ended in May, and I was sick all of May and most of June and part of July. So I didn't work. Well, March, April, we were closed because of the lockdown, but we still got paid for that. But that was government. What's what I'm looking for? The government subsidized. Is that the right word? I don't know. Anyways, the government helped back that. So it wasn't like the company was losing money off of that. A supplement? Maybe. I don't know. I'm tired right now. But anyways, and then May, that's when I got sick. I got sick at the end of April. But in May, we didn't know anything about this virus or anything really. It was still the beginning of it. So I was like, all right, well, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. And so the company was okay with it. And then, I was going to the doctors at that time. I made videos about it. So then when a doctor finally said I can go back to work, my boss was like, no, you can't. Or no. At first I said I could. But I still wasn't feeling good. And then later, we learned that, there's a lot of like after effects from Corona. It's just like same thing if you have the flu. You're contagious for, like 5 days or whatever. But then after that period, you're not 100%. You're never going to be 100% like immediately after, because it does a lot to your body. So anyways, so I went to work one day, and they were like, no, you can't come back to work. And they forced me to sign a document saying I can't return to work for a month until my symptoms go away, or until I get a doctor's note saying I can return to work. Next day, I went to the hospital, got a doctor's note. I think it took 2 days. Maybe I talked about this before, I can't remember. Anyways, got a doctor's note, took it to my company, and they still didn't let me return back to work for a month. So anyways, fast forward to a contract renewal conversation. They're like, yeah, no, you didn't work for a month, so that's going to go into your report as well, saying why we're not going to renew your contract. I'm like, well, no. I tried to come back. You didn't let me. And he was like, well, anyways. So that didn't work out for him. And I said, if you're going to put these as reasons why you're not going to renew my contract, then put that in the the official document stating why you're not renewing my contract. And he was like, no. I'm like, all right then. And then they're invalid points. So anyways, I still report them to the labor office and whatnot about that. And they're like, yeah, there's no reason for him to not renew your contract based on those two reasons. Now, downsizing the company, that could be an okay reason, but it wasn't, because he still hired new people and whatnot. So anyways, he did renew my contract for 1 year, but at the end of the contract, it stated that my contract was non-renewal, which I think technically he can't do that. But none of the lawyers would help me, really, that I spoke to. So basically, this 5-year law is that if an employer tries to intervene anyway to prevent you from getting more than 5 years, just because they don't want to and not an actual reason, they can't do that. Which he did, and the lawyers didn't want to help me, the public lawyers. So, whatever. But yeah, anyways, so, and then I was thinking about this today. So, I did work in, 2021, all of 2021, but it wasn't really working. It was like, I even got a document yesterday, finally stating that my job was part-time, and not full-time or whatever they tried to make it out to be. But, my part-time job was even more part-time, and I don't even want to think about how much money I lost. And thankfully I had some other side jobs on the side to compensate that, but still I lost so much money, and it was all legal for him to cut my hours for no reason. Yeah, it was awful. Like, my coworkers were working like 6-7 lessons every day, and I was working like 3 or 4 lessons a day, because that's all he contractually agreed to, which is not true. It basically said a minimum of 20, but it didn't state the maximum. So it's a terrible, terrible contract, and I've learned a lot from it. So anyways, and then, but here's another point. Actually, I worked for that company for 6 years. So why didn't I become a full-time employee? That makes it like I should have. I worked there for 5 years. Well, actually, my first contract was with a different company. So I worked for the same company, but the contract was under a different company. So it was a dispatch company. So we went and investigated that and found out that contract was probably illegal. It's probably why he switched that contract. Who knows? Who knows now? It's been so long now. But yeah, so my first contract was with a different company, so that's why he could give me one more contract for 1 more year, because I wasn't legally working under the same company for 5 years. Talk about a loophole, right? Crazy, crazy loophole. It's a bunch of shenanigans. But yeah. So yeah. So that's why I lost my job. Basically, there was no reason to. Just my company wanted to avoid paying me or making me a full-time employee. So it is what it is. And that's why I'm kind of going to grad school now. Because I'm tired of like just running through the system, like trying to find a job that's going to pay you decently well, but then not give you a raise. And then after a few years, they're gonna can you because they don't want to make you a full-time employee. Oops. And that's not fun. So you're basically restarting your career every few years. Which, if the pay stayed, like if your raises went up every year like they should, and then they continued, and then the new job continued from there, and you went up, no, you're resetting every time. So that's not good. So, hopefully by getting this master's, I'll be able to get a decent job in the future that's like, sustainable for a long time and not just a couple years and restart whatever. So we'll see what happens. I don't even know how long I've been talking for. This video is quite long now. But I just want to get that off my chest because it really bothered me that, you know, I had to tell all of these students that I was quitting, and it wasn't true. Wasn't true at all. There's probably a lot more I've forgotten or probably should talk about, but this video is getting long and I'm getting tired. I have to get up early tomorrow. I have a seminar lecture thingy that I have to attend. Thankfully it's on Zoom, so I don't have to leave my house. I can just roll out of my bed here, right there, turn on my computer, which is right there. You can't see it, and just join it. So that'll be nice. But yeah, and I'm almost out of tea and I'm losing my voice again. But yeah, so we'll see what happens in the future. Yeah, pretty interesting. It's been an interesting year and a half, I guess, since I started this series. But with just everything else going on, I could probably talk more about my job or my old job, or even my job before that when I worked at a different English school, and how they do as much as possible to make me, the teacher, lose as much money as possible every month, or not be able to reach our potential every month. And it's a shame, really. At the end of the day, it's just a big shame because, like, English is in demand. It's highly in demand. Like, it's used all around the world. Like, you know, they need English teachers. And, you know, maybe our job isn't so professional sometimes. I mean, like, even now I'm wearing a Deadpool shirt. And, you know, sometimes I went to work dressed like this, and it was fine. Because it was, at least in this company, it was, you know, more casual. And it was fine. It was enjoyable. But, you know, you're still, at the end of the day, you're still teaching somebody, and or hopefully motivating them more to keep studying English, to improve, to go on and do something with their own life or career or travels or whatever. And we're just getting, you know, the short end of it for no reason at all. But yeah, anyways, so I'm still rambling. It's been a long video. So anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching for this 50 so far. I hope to make at least another 50 more, maybe more. Who knows? I hope to be making other kinds of videos soon in the future. Who knows with the way everything's going. Maybe some more electronic videos once I start learning more about that. But alright, anyways, if you watch this whole video, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.